Hi everyone, I'm going to be doing a little chicken and rice today demonstration here at our local Dillard's at North Point Mall. And so we're doing an Instapot. I am using the Duo Mini 3-quart Instapot, but you can double this recipe to use the 6-quart recipe if you need to. So we're basically going to start out, we've got the Instapot put on the Saute Method, and I'm going to start out with 2 tablespoons of butter that we're going to put inside. Right here, and we're going to let that melt down, and just sort of, you can probably see up in the above method, we're just going to let that melt down in here and sort of just nicely melt down into the Instapot. And then we're going to use a basic mirepoix. This is something you can get in your freezer section. This is a carrot, celery, and onions mix. We're just going to use a basic mirepoix mix that'll go into this right here. We're just going to dump that directly in. Hear that sizzle? A little bit of steam going on. And we're just going to saute that down. That is the first steps of the method. So that is 1 bag of mirepoix. Going to go in there. And I've got these handy little tools that I'm using just to saute that down. Just to get it in there. Lightly saute down into the mirepoix. Yeah, just gonna let that sweat. You just want it to kind of lightly get those onions translucent, get the celery translucent. Smells amazing. That's where we're going with that part of the method of this. So, and then as you go forward with that, you just want to let that saute. A trick with sauteing with this is the fact that when you put your Instapot onto the saute, it actually heats it up, so it goes ahead and cuts your cooking time down in half. By using that saute method. So you've already got the heat built up in the actual pressure cooker, so it's going to allow you to cut your cooking time down. So instead of something, say your rice taking 20 to 30 minutes to cook, now it's only going to take like 10 or 12 because you've already basically preheated your pot. The next thing we're going to go ahead and add on in is we've got, this is going to be 2 tablespoons of minced garlic. And then we've got 8 ounces of mushrooms. Your choice of mushrooms that you want to use. I actually have chopped shiitake mushrooms in here, and we're just going to go ahead and add that on in to the mix right here. Just put that right on in. Go ahead and let that saute down as well. Right on in. In with that butter, smelling lovely. Perfect. And it's going to be about a 10-minute saute on this, just to get everything just sort of nice, like I said, translucent. And then, just to save yourself time, I like to do the pre-chopped, pre-diced chicken breasts that you can get at the store. Purdue makes a nice one, Tyson makes a nice one. And I've already pre-seasoned this with 2 tablespoons of Knorr chicken broth, and it's just a powdered seasoning that you can get, but I've already mixed 2 tablespoons of that in, and I've mixed 1 teaspoon of Penzeys seasoned salt in there. So that has already been mixed into this seasoning just for magic of recording and television. So we will have that go ahead and put in here. Into this mix, and we'll just drop that right on in. Perfect. And then again, chicken, so salmonella, we want to keep those containers all completely separate. And I'm going to use a separate utensil at this point. This one will now go away, and we're going to use a rubber mallet utensil for our chicken to stir. Yep, and you just want to get a light coating, light browning on that chicken. in this section of the Instapot method. Perfect. So we are just mixing that all together. Right in there. Level. Perfect. And as it gets hooked around the edges, it's just going to continue to cook that chicken, just kind of add those little pieces onto there. And that's great. That's exactly what we wanted to do. Okay, so the next pieces that we have in here, we've got our chicken stock, we've got our rice, this is our gravy and our milk. Our gravy and our milk we're gonna hold to the side. Those are the only two things that we are not gonna actually put into the Instapot. Those go in at the very end. But we are going to add in our 32 ounces of chicken stock at this point. My Instapot may, because it is the Duo Mini, may not actually hold the full 32 ounces, but a 6-quart Instapot would. So there is actually a fill line located, and I don't know if you can see that above, but it says a maximum fill line. So I will actually fill mine to the maximum fill line. And then if there's any residual, I may add that in at the end just for thinning purposes if it's super thick or anything towards the end. But yeah, look, oh, perfect. And we're starting to brown it nicely in here on that saute. Beautiful, beautiful. Looking good, looking good. And another trick is if you pre-seasoned your chicken like that, it also lets the flavors kind of marinate through. If you do that maybe the night before, so you're coming home from work, it'll save you a lot of time. It sits in the refrigerator. It allows that seasoning to really like kind of seep through your chicken breast. So that's going to save you a lot of time there as well. Yeah. So we're starting to look really nice. Get a nice little glaze, nice little coating right now on that chicken. So that's looking really, really good. So in here we have, I've done 1 cup of brown rice and I've done a half a cup of wild rice. I buy my wild rice separately just because I like a lot of wild rice in my mix. You can get it at local Whole Food stores or like a Trader Joe's or places like that. So I've just done my own blend. You can do, you know, store-bought versions of rice. You can do any version of that, but I just like a lot of really dense, thick wild rice in my chicken wild rice because that is in the name. So I just personally like to add that additional wild rice. This particular recipe was based off of the Pioneer soup recipes that you get from your neighbors. That's why we have the Pioneer gravy mix over here. But that was what this recipe was based off of. So it was mostly made with dried goods and things of that nature. You know, so you could do neighbor gifts, leave it in someone's mailbox in a cute little container or something like that as a neighbor gift. And what I've just done is I've altered portions of this recipe to make it more fresh by adding fresh chicken, fresh mushrooms. You could obviously use fresh carrots, celery, and onions if you have the time. I'm just showing you the time-saving method of being able to take the freezer version of the Maripot, open 1 bag, it's saving you the chop time, it's saving you all of that. And honestly, by the time you cook it in an Instapot, in the chicken broth, it tastes amazing. So you're never going to notice that it was already pre-chopped and someone had done all that work for you. So I say take that time-saving measure and you know, utilize that for yourself. All right, so now we've got a nice brown on our chicken right there. And this is where your babysitting time of this dish is almost over. All right, so I'm going to take that off. I'm going to add in our rice. I just dump it right in. And now we're going to add our chicken broth. And you're just going to pour the chicken broth in directly over the top until you reach that fill line. And I am there. So I'm going to say for my mini pot, that was about 3 cups. It feels like there's about a cup left in this container. So that was about 3 cups in my mini pot. Okay, so I am now gonna put my lid on. You are gonna wanna make sure that your vent is closed. So That is, let's see, down, closed. And I'm gonna have to turn this around, I apologize, so I can see what I'm doing. But you're going to basically wanna put this on a manual high pressure cook, and you're gonna wanna cook it for 20 minutes. So I need to take this to a pressure level, manual. We're gonna put it on high for 20 minutes. Sorry, I set it for 45. We don't want 45. That will be way too long. High pressure cook. And pressure level high. And that should be it. All right. So that should just be starting. There we go. Right. Okay, so while your chicken and rice is cooking in the Instapot, you're gonna actually go ahead and make your Pioneer gravy stir-in mix, which goes in at the very end after you've let it naturally vent. You're gonna use 3/4 of a cup of milk and 1 of the Pioneer gravy mixes. This is what the entire recipe was based off of. Remember, I had told you it was based off of those cute little neighbor mailbox gifts. So you're basically gonna just take your Pioneer gravy mix and you're going to whisk it in to the 3/4 of a cup of milk, and you're just gonna allow it to sit until that Instapot beauty is ready. And then once that is done, you will stir it in at the very end. And that is basically how this all comes together. So during that little bit of downtime, this is the only other thing you have to do is just pre-make that gravy mix that stirs in, and that is it. You can now go off, you can now go have a little bath, you can have a little reading, you can, you know, do a little laundry. Don't do laundry. No one wants to do laundry. Anyways, get someone else to do your laundry. Get your husband to do the laundry. Right, Hub?
Sure.
Go do the laundry, Hubs.
Sure.
Anyway. Alrighty. So I'm just gonna stir in this gravy mix. We've got about 5 more minutes left on the Instapot, and then it'll be all ready to come together.
Good.
Okay, so now everything is cooked in the Instapot, and we are going to, we've let it naturally release its steam. So now we're going to open the top, and voila, take a look at that. There's all your freshly cooked rice, perfectly done. And we are just going to lightly fluff this around. There we go. Now you can see it's still completely hot. So while it's still completely hot, we're gonna take this gravy mixture and we're just gonna pour it right in. And this will automatically set up because it's already got a thickening agent inside of it. It's got a natural cornstarch, so it should just go ahead and thicken up all on its own. So we're just gonna stir that right in. Make sure we get all that beautiful goodness right out of here. Yep. And we're just gonna stir that right in to our chicken and rice. Yep, there we go. And if for some reason at this point, if it is too thick, if you're noticing this has gotten too thick, remember I told you we had that extra reserve of our chicken stock. You can add more chicken stock to it at this point if you're finding that this is too thick. Or if you want to make it more of just a soup, you can add more chicken stock to it at this point as well. But I think we are absolutely perfect. So there we go. And voila, you have chicken and rice.